Good evening. You're welcome. This is Women Radio 91.7, Nigeria's only radio station for women and their families. And you're live again on This is Safe Space on Women Radio 91.7. This is where we have conversations on digital violence, verbal violence, physical violence, anything gender based violence and abuse. This is where we talk about it, providing you with solutions, most importantly, on what you can do to not suffer these things as well in your homes, in your families, and in your communities, and also let you know that you are safe here. This is a safe space, and this is where you get advice, clarity, and direction on anything relating to gender based violence in families and in our society. You're welcome. My name is Finfolua Akirami. It's currently 5 minutes past 6 o'clock. Today is the 26th day in the month of March 2026. You're welcome. Of course, I don't do this alone every single day. I don't do this alone. I'm always here with Barrister Olumide Kayode Omoshebi, and he's here with me again for another great time, another great conversation on Safe Space. Good evening, Barrister.
Good evening, Fee.
Good
Awesome
evening.
to see you again.
Same here.
And welcome once again to all those listening to us by radio. We really appreciate and do not take you for granted. So today, I would like to go back to a tradition of ours. In 2021, after an extensive research that went through 5 years,
Yes.
we announced strictly about the month of March in Nigeria, how this particular month determined the curve of abuse for the year. Now, the rates of domestic violence and abuse per month, we found out that when it got to the month of March, the moment it rises in the month of March, it just keeps rising to the end of the year and never comes down. So we keep watching out for the month of March to determine how the year would be when it comes to sexual and gender-based violence and domestic violence in the home. By late 2022, research continued, and we found that this trend had been over 10 years in Nigeria, but would change in 2025. 2025 showed that women, particularly Christian and simple women, would more likely die from their marriages and its complications than any natural illness. It also projected that it will change by 2025 and the violence will increase before the month of March. So for 7 years, we kept talking about the month of March. And we always dedicate the month of March to all those that we have lost to domestic violence and abuse in Nigeria. We know that in Nigeria, 1 in every 4 marriages would end in a separation or divorce by the 2nd anniversary, and that 1 in every 3 women will suffer domestic violence or abuse in the first year of their marriage. 1 in every 7 men would also suffer domestic violence or abuse in their marriages. Now, we brought to fore the death of a particular person in Nigeria called Osinachi Nwachukwu, who died on the 8th of April. That was 2002. I was involved in the case as one of the lawyers, and at that time, she had separated from her husband for 1 year, 3 months. However, religion got the best of her as her religious institution kept telling her what God has joined together, let not man put asunder, and that, she should come back. They will pray about it. They will do this and that until eventually she came back. And today we knew that was the last thing that she did. So we use her as a pointer to anyone, male or female, living in domestic violence or abuse, to know that it has deadly consequences.
Yes.
So we always dedicate the month of March to the memory of those that we lost to domestic violence or abuse, and we use as a symbol Osinachi Nwachukwu.
Yes.
So we will give 1 minute to her memory and hear this. Go ahead.
All right, welcome back. This is Safe Space on Women Radio 91.7, Nigeria's only radio station for women and their families. And that was a 1 minute silence for Osinachi, who lost her life to domestic violence in 2021. You're still here. You're listening to us. I'm here with Barrister Lumide Kayode Omoshebi, and we're having a conversation this evening. Just in case you want to join the conversation at any point, you can do well to call us on 08155 917 917. You can call us on 07000 917 917 07000 917 917. You're welcome back, Barrister.
Thank you very much, Fee, and may her soul continue to rest in peace.
Amen.
Now, one very thing that we all must remember are the children that would be traumatized from this violent or aggressive behavior in the house. Now, Osinachi left behind 4 children, 2 of which testified against their father in court. But according to Section 2, subsection 1 of the Child Rights Act, the children had to be blindfolded during the trial in court and shielded with a screen. The children spoke about how at times the father would give them the cane to flog their mother. And if they did not, he would flog them, and the harder he flogged them, which would make them flog their mother as well. They testified about how at one time the father pushed their mother out of a moving vehicle. I don't know how people continue not seeing that one day this person will actually kill me. Now, domestic violence is a noun, which means it is a person.
Yes.
It is a pattern of behavior where one partner wants or uses to gain or maintain power or control over the other partner. Domestic violence is simply a matter of control. Someone wants to control the other. Someone wants to maintain dominance
Over the
over
other.
the other. And then it devolves to threats and intimidation. Now, globally, 38% of murders of women are committed by male intimate partners, which means their husbands or their lovers. Now, 38% means that a woman is more likely or will be more likely killed by someone that she has loved or is her spouse. And now, according to the World Health Organization, men are more likely to perpetrate violence if they have number one, low education, number two, history of child maltreatment when they were young, number three, if they have seen or witnessed or were exposed to domestic violence against their mothers when they were younger. Now, women who also are more likely to experience domestic violence or intimate partner violence are number one, women with low education. Number two, women with a history of child maltreatment when they were young. Number three, women who saw, witnessed, or were exposed to their mothers being abused by their partners or their fathers. So this tells you that because a mother remains in an abusive marriage, it increases the probability that their daughter would marry an abusive man and remain in an abusive marriage. So I always maintain that abusers are raised and not born. I hope you understand what I am saying.
Abusers are raised and not born. That's very
Yes,
true.
abusers are raised. Now, I would briefly talk about a particular method that keeps reoccurring in marriages, always leading to what I call marital aftershock.
Okay.
That is, when you realize within the first year of your marriage that you married wrong. That is, in the first year of your marriage, you just saw the character, you went through the first year and you said, yay, I married the wrong person. Now, realizing this people say that they have already gone too far, too fast. And we can't stop now because what will people say in the first year of the marriage? And it is always about let us just keep on. They're moving too fast, too soon. But realize, however, that 90% of car accidents are because of loss of control in motion, meaning that this same motion, you are going too fast, is the problem. Now, when they realize within the first year of their marriage that, wow, I have made a mistake, wow, I married the wrong person, what happens in that period? They usually choose to continue, and it leads to pregnancy. Some abusers often expose themselves the moment the woman gets pregnant or after the delivery of the first child. It is always after the delivery of the first child that you begin to see the character of
The
the
person you married.
person. It is always when the pregnancy is heavy. From the 7th month of pregnancy, 8 months, you begin to see that this person has changed. This person is no longer the person you used to know. They would say the person I married is different from the person I dated. Now, there is one thing I call an anomaly of marriage, which is realization in the first year of marriage. And an anomaly, according to the Cambridge Dictionary, means a person or thing that is different from what is usual. It means irregularity, deviation from normal. Now, one of the major causes of the mismarriages, that is when you find out within the first year that you married the wrong person, it usually happens in marriages when you were introduced by someone. Now, you meet people for romantic relationships through 3 different ways. The first is in person. You saw the person yourself. You were going to work and you saw this lady, or you saw this man, or this man approached you. The first is in person. The second is by introduction or referrals. Maybe your auntie says, well, you are not married. There's this guy that comes around, very nice. Or your friends introduce you to their friends, and then a relationship starts by introduction. The third way you meet people are on social media, where either on Facebook or Snapchat, or you just meet and then you decide to take it to the next level. However, traditional statistics show that the longer lasting marriages have been those who met their spouses in person. They have the strongest and last the longest because they saw and approached them personally. It was their personal choice. While the other two share almost the same statistic, as it follows that both of them were by introduction, either through somebody or through social media. It was social media that introduced you, and it was somebody that invented that app of social media. So you still met through a third person. Now, the anomaly here is what I would call when you meet somebody and then you do not know the character of the person that you met, but you go ahead and you marry. So when you, in fact, marry someone whom you do not really know, that person is referred to as a stranger. So you married a stranger. Let me first go to the definition of a stranger. The Oxford Dictionary defines it as a person whom one does not know or with whom one is not familiar. Dictionary.com describes a stranger simply as a person you do not know. Merriam-Webster defines a stranger as one in the house of another as a guest, visitor, or intruder. Now, when we were growing up as children, one of the things that we were told is do not talk to strangers
Yes.
because the presence of a stranger poses a certain uncertainty.
Mm.
The stranger is neither friend or enemy because he can be both friend and enemy. So we don't know who they are, and we were raised don't talk to strangers. And the distrust of strangers was what led to that concept, stranger danger.
Mm.
I don't know if you heard it. There are only three words apart, three alphabets apart, stranger danger.
Mm.
Now, the Greek translation of the word stranger is xenos, Xenos. And it is from this word that we have xenophobia.
Mm.
And the main issue that we have in countries like South Africa is xenophobia, which is the fear of strangers, fear of foreigners. Do you understand?
Yes.
Now, we consider different tribes.
Mm.
I would start with the Igbo. The main problem with them last year when the Yuletide season began during December, I warned them when they were traveling. I said, a lot of you say there are no wives in Lagos, there's no wife in the West, that it is until you get to your village that you know, women, real women, you know, virgins are in the village and they leave once a year to their village and then they have their aunties, uncles, and they just meet somebody and they say, this is a very good girl by recommendation. One uncle or aunt would send them the message that, I want to marry. Please help me find a girl. Some would send you pictures in the West, that is the Yorubas. Say,
Mm.
send you a picture and tell you, they have gone, they have investigated the house. She's a good girl from a good home. And then you just come back to Lagos and start preparing for marriage for someone that you barely knew. They were introduced to you, and you say, my auntie is a God-fearing woman. I trust that she will choose a right
That's
woman
not
for
for me.
me.
Mm.
So they choose, but then you refuse to investigate character. You don't date. You just say, don't worry. I will bring you to Lagos. I will start a business with you. And you just plan your traditional marriage after talking to her on the phone for 1 month, 2 months. You know, you really don't know who she is. Worse are some that even come from European countries, they come from other continents, they just marry and
Right.
then do papers and carry
Mm.
them abroad. Obodo Yibo. Uh, those in other places will be working in Lagos. They just want to marry. They travel and say they want to. But this is has been a major problem. Those that marry men and women that they do not really know.
Mm.
You never saw them before. You married based on recommendation, but there is no problem with recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
But after recommendation, did you actually take it a step
Your time.
further
Investigate. Yes.
to get to know the character of the person? This has been a major problem, and it becomes a long distance relationship where you only talk on FaceTime or video calls. And what you do actually is called broadcasting. That is, you are just talking over radio waves.
Mm.
So you broadcast to her, then she broadcasts back to you, and then you believe that this is the foundation of a lasting relationship, as your relationship is powered by network. Mm.
mm,
Ladies and gentlemen, this has led to more failures than successes. And this I have to bring to your attention because a lot of our sessions, a lot of our interventions, when you ask them, so how long did you date? And they say, I knew him for about 6 months. How long did you date? That is where both of you seeing each other regularly. You went out, you said, no, we were talking over the phone. We only met twice. He came to the village. The first one we were introduced, and the second time he came to pay my bride price.
true.
So it is now what you did not know when you were dating. When you now marry, you begin to see the character that you should have seen before you married while you were dating. But now you are married. So it is no longer easy for you to just say, you know what, I am not doing. You now find out that she's aggressive. You now find out that someone said, she's very dirty, very lazy. I will be the one to buy the food. She will cook. I'll be the one to wash the plate. She doesn't know how to do this. He doesn't know how to do that. He's very irresponsible. It is the lady doing all the work. It is, and this is where Wahala starts.
Mm,
Why? Because you never dated the person. Now, religious bodies are the greatest culprit because they tell you just pray. God says this is your husband, God says this is your wife. So, because God has said it, there's no need for you to date. There's
mm,
no need for you to know the person better because by prophecy, God has said this. Immediately, you start marriage counseling. You cannot go to a house, you cannot come to your own house because of you might sin. And you just immediately after pre-counseling and marriage counseling, everything, you pray about it, bring out the Bible, and then you get married. And you now begin to see that marriage is not a Christian organization, that it is not a religious organization or institution, that marriage is real life. You begin to see the brother or the sister or the cleric that you married, both Muslim and Christian, you now find out that their character is different at home.
mm,
You know that Osinachi did not really date her husband.
mhm,
The husband came and said he was a pastor.
mm.
In fact, their marriage was done in a room that could not contain 5 people.
Wow.
And ladies and gentlemen, he came as a pastor. He had no job, he had no means of income. Osinachi was his means of income.
Mm,
When churches will pay her to come and act, they pay into his account. He would determine the songs that she would sing at a particular point in time. He would say he doesn't like this song, he doesn't like that song, sing this. So you need to have heard all what happened. But the major mistake was she never knew who he was until after marriage. And then after marriage, they tell you it is too late.
mm.
God has joined you together. You cannot leave. However, ladies and gentlemen, if you have made a mistake, you don't have to die in your mistake.
Yes.
The first thing you find when when you have seen you married wrong, because number one, you did not know this person was abusive, you didn't know it was violent, you didn't know there's psychological abuse, there is emotional abuse, which means it is not all abuse that is physical, that is beating.
Mhm,
There is what you call emotional abuse, which are basically words that are said. I mean, I look at Fini. Imagine Fini is my wife, and I keep telling Fini, Fini, you know you're a very stupid girl.
mm,
I don't even know why I married you. You know, I just did you a favor. You don't know how to cook. Your food is rubbish anyway because your mother did not train you well.
Hmm.
You continue hearing these kinds of words, Fini, every day. How useless you are, how stupid you are. And then you are told to always apologize. Then he brings a cane. He now charges at you. You have to run.
Um,
Each time you are afraid for your life
hmm.
because of the temper, because of the anger, because of the curses, the abuse. Though he has not laid a hand on you, but the words that he says, it would have even better he beat you than all the words. And this is how it will continue for the rest of your life. Can you imagine?
Hmm.
For as long as you would live, every week, at least 2, 3 times,
In a week.
anytime anything happens, you are being told how useless you are, how you cannot do anything right.
Hmm.
That is emotional abuse.
Yes. Hmm.
Words that are said. The psychological abuse is always intimidation, making you in fear. It might just break the television, throw this, break that, come at you as if you have to run. It is called psychological abuse, making you afraid. Is this how you are going to continue for the rest of your life? You say, oh, because we just got married, I don't want people to say anything. I don't want it. And then your family tells you, don't worry, stay now. Everybody is facing their own. So please just learn how to take it, learn how to pray, and everything will be all right. Unfortunately, last year, we buried over 450 women in Nigeria to domestic violence in 365 days. If you have buried over 400, it tells you that there are some days, 2 women,
Hmm.
a woman dies every day, at
That you
times
don't
2.
even know about.
Come again?
There are still some women that you might not even know about.
You know that research has shown that for every reported case, there are 3 other unreported cases.
Exactly.
So, what do we do?
Hmm.
Parents have a very, unfortunately, for a lot of us, we have parents that prefer the institution of marriage over the lives of their children.
Children. Hmm.
We have a case where now I'm pushing for the arrest of the father because the girl ran home and told that I cannot continue. He's too violent. The following morning, the father took his daughter and 2 of his grandchildren, put in the car and drove them back to the house of her husband that she ran away with. That she must learn
To
to be
endure.
submissive
Hmm.
and humble. That he, as a pastor, cannot accept separation or divorce. So she must remain. And you wonder what species of human being will be able to watch his own offspring being beaten, battered, and bruised
Hmm.
and will say nothing. Watch the children being beaten, battered, and bruised and say nothing. Our parents also are culprits in this matter because the life of your child should be more important to you than
And the
any institution called marriage. And your divine duty, the duty of any species, is the protection of the young.
mm-hmm.
That is how we sustain life, and it sustains the survival of the species. Life is more important than marriage. However, soon children would learn that they owe nobody any explanation. I am the one that got married. I am the one that chose wrong. I am the one that will bear the responsibility. And I am the one that has said I am no longer doing. The fact that I said I do I can also say I don't. You are supported by law. To leave any abusive marriage, you are supported by law. Freedom of association, you can say you do today and tomorrow if you believe that you are not safe. If you believe you made a mistake, you can decide not to remain. No police can catch you for leaving. No law in scripture, no, there is, do you know actually, in every religion, you are allowed to leave.
Yes.
There is no religion that says you must stay, you cannot leave, even though it will kill you, die. There is no religion. But this is how, from generation to generation, the tradition, our culture, and our religion has supervised the systemic killing of our children, our brothers and sisters, all in the name of marriage. This year, by the 31st of January, we had lost over 47 people to domestic violence this year alone. Those who refused to leave, those who would leave and then come back. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have buried enough, we have lost enough as a country to the hands of family, to the hands of lovers, to the hands of husbands and wives. The month of March, the month of March, always a reminder that life is more important than
Anything.
anything.
Yes.
And a living dog is better than a dead lion.
Mm-hmm.
If you are in an abusive marriage, you owe nobody no explanation.
Yes.
Save your life.
Mm.
Leave. That is the lesson of the month of March. Leave domestic violence and abuse. Thing.
Mm. Ah, barista is it's always eye opening to learn about these things because every day we get to see women who are going through issues like this every single day and eventually dying that marriage. It is the desire of our hearts that the statistic of women who die in their marriages every year would be reduced. We would not have to experience more death and more tragedy when it comes to the loss of lives of women and even men alike in their marriage who die in their marriages every single year. So if you are in any abusive relationship by chance, please, as much as you can, come out of it. And if your child, has come to report any violence to you, at least investigate first. Don't push them into the hands of their. I know, in our society, it's bad for a person to get divorced, but not at the cost of your life. Not really at the cost of your life. If you'd like to join the conversation this evening, rather, you want to share your 2 cents on the conversation, you want to ask Barrister Olumide questions, you want to talk about something, you can do all to call me on 07000 917. The number is 07000 917. We would love to hear from you. We'd love to hear your thoughts. We'd love to hear your contributions. And we'd also like to take your questions this evening on the show. 07000 to join the conversation this evening. And you can also call 09155 917 917 09155 917 917 07000 917. We have more and more cases of women dying every single day, and even men, dying in abusive marriages. And that's why it's important that you get to know your partner before you marry them. Now, the issue is not that your parents, they are bringing, oh, I saw this girl in the village, I saw this boy somewhere, you would like him, you would like her. It's okay if your parents brings people to you and say, marry this person. It is your job and your responsibility to do your findings, get to know the person. interact with them, get to know them, get to know who they are, get to know what they like and what they don't. Because some times ago, my some of my aunties were advising me, that your man will frustrate him, like, see, get him to his angry state, make him upset, so that you can see what it feels like for him to be angry, so you can see what he is like when he is angry, when he is upset. I've heard a lot of people, advise things like that, and the goal is to make you see what this person is like when they are angry. You don't even need to make the person angry. If you go out, how do they relate with other people? How do they scold their workers at work? How do they relate with their family, with their colleagues at work as well? These are things that you need to pay attention to when you're dating someone. It's not every time ice cream, chocolates, this on that one. Get to know the person, get to know them. Let's hear from you this evening on the show Safe Space on Women Radio 91.7. I'm here with Barrister Lumide Kayode Omoshebi, and the conversation, majorly, we are celebrating the life of Osinachi and also helping other women come out of that bondage, so to say. If you're in that shoe right now, Barisa has shared a lot of things that can help you come out of it, and how family, parents, religion should not contribute to the number of violence, in our communities today. If you love to join the conversation, you want to share one or two things, you want to ask your questions as well, you can do well to call us on 07000 You can also call 09155 917 917 to be a part of the conversation, to share your thoughts with us, to let us know what you have to say this evening. Barrister, for somebody listening right now, they've gone through, they've told their parents told them to leave, they've told their parents told them to leave the family, leave your marriage. And I lots of people, I believe that, okay, we have a call. Hello, good evening. Good evening. You're welcome. What's your name and where are you calling from? Bro Solomon from Abuli Egba. Good evening. You're welcome.
Yeah, my marriage is working. Not beating my wife. Investment period for my marriage. We have never quarreled with anyone.
That's lovely. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you very much. All right. Thank you.
All right. He says he doesn't beat his wife. He has never fought with his wife. They've never fought for one day before. So I think he just wants to share that with us. Thank you so much for being among the great men that we have in our society. The number to still call to be a part of the show, Safe Space, this evening is 07000 Let's hear from you. What's your thoughts on on violence and abuse in our community, in our society? What's your take on it? If somebody comes to meet you today and tells you, "Oh, my husband is beating me, my wife is beating me," will you tell the person to leave, or will you advise them to endure? Will you advise them to stay, to endure, to, you're about to say, fority? They will tell you that there's no marriage without its own ups and downs. They will tell you there's no marriage without its own challenges. Would you advise someone who is currently going through I don't know why I keep saying digital violence. Would you advise someone who's currently going through violence and abuse in their marriage, in their relationship, verbal abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse, to stay in their marriage, or you would advise them to leave? 07000 Barrister, for somebody who's listening right now, they've told their parents has told them to leave, but they are more focused on what would people say. What do my colleagues say? My friends that came to my wedding, they bought a share because I saw a meme some days ago. They were telling the person was saying, after I've bought this 100K ashwebi, don't tell me that you want to divorce, or don't tell me that you want to leave the marriage. Don't tell me you want to get separated from your partner. I cannot buy a Shobi, and then some years later you now tell me that you're not doing it again. You have to do, you know. So somebody listening, and they have friends like that or people like that, and they're more concerned about what people will say. What will be your advice to that person?
Well, they say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. When you decide that your life is the yards of an ashwebi, or
Mm,
you decide that your life, I think even your friends who bought 100,000, 200,000 naira ashwebi,
yeah.
if they knew that your life depended on it, would not say bring in ashwebi into the matter.
Mm,
Is a lot of times people don't know the severity because you don't want to share with them what you are actually going through. I think it is a decision, it is not a public paid announcement.
announcement.
It's
Yeah.
not as if you go around and start announcing, I want to leave my husband or all of you. It
Mm,
is something that on, a very warm Monday morning, you decide. And everybody goes to work and you pack your things and you leave.
mm.
It's not something that you go and start announcing. It's a decision you make, and you take your decision and continue. The day anybody finds out, that is the day they find out.
I think we care
Uh,
more about. We think people actually care sometimes, but people don't really care about you like you think they do. I mean, there are people. Your family members care about you. They love you and all of that, but people that you're thinking about them, you're seeking validation for, they don't really care. They don't. Your life is not would not stop their own life from functioning. Your whatever you do if you're married would not stop their own marriage from being what it is. So people don't really care as much as you think they do. So just do what's for you and move on with your life. Honestly, just move on with your life.
the problem is giving too much energy to what others. A lot of people are not even as smart as you,
Mm-hmm.
and you want them to decide for you. You just say it's called a decision, and it gives other people. This thing gives other people the courage to correct their own mistakes.
Mistakes, yes.
The fact that this is a mistake, you cannot continue you see, the wrong turning would not lead you to the right destination.
Mm,
You can't take a wrong turning, but you just continue to drive down the wrong road because you are afraid of what somebody will say if you turn back.
mm.
No, ma, you are wasting only your life.
Your time, your
You're
energy,
wasting only your time.
and you're putting your life at risk as well, because you can't even function properly in an abusive marriage. That means your career will be on hold, your business will be on hold, your mental health will be on hold. Everything about you will literally be paused because of what other people think. And every other person is living their life. They're doing well, they're doing fine. Nobody really cares. Do what works for you, ladies and gentlemen. If you're listening and you're struggling to leave that relationship, if you're not married yet, now is the time for you to leave. Oh, if you're in an abusive relationship, don't say, Marisa, I listened to something on Instagram and the lady was like, Ola, after all I've done for you, after all the food I've cooked for you, all the things I've done for you, you are still cheating on me. You're still kiniko kiniko. And the guy was just like, I beg, the woman that's selling vegetable egusi around you, did she come? He did not even respond to the allegations that were leveled against him. And I was telling a friend that this lady will still stay in that relationship. Oh. She might even go and buy that egusi soup for him. She will still be in that relationship. You can clearly see that this guy does not want you. You can clearly see that this guy is not interested in you. You're not even married yet, and you're enduring so much already. You're enduring so much already. You're willing to stay with an abusive person. You're willing to stay with somebody that is clearly cheating on you. He's not even hiding it. And you're there. I don't know why we do that to ourselves sometimes. I don't know.
Well, I think that, you know, it depends on what you can take and what you cannot take.
Mm,
I had a case some years ago where the husband and wife came. The husband had caught the wife 4 times with different men, caught
mm,
in the act 4 different times, but he still chose to stay. We have someone that even just a text message was what said, no,
mhm,
you must be, you
mhm,
can't take it. It depends on what some people can take. And, women are being trained now that, listen, when it comes to just accept the fact that the man would have a boyfriend, and men are told, just, that this woman, if he be say, no, be only you.
Mm-hmm.
So they are telling you to just prepare for infidelity. If you can take it, if you can't take it, then you leave. It's I think it's based on some people. It is well.
It is well. It is well indeed. The number is still 07000 Let us hear from you. Share your thoughts with us. And in case you have questions for Barrister Olumide Kayode Omoshebi, you can also call us as well. 07000 You can also call 09155 917 917 09155 917 to be a part of the conversation. This is also a plea to religious institutions, parents, families, friends. If you have anyone around you currently going through abuse, protect them by all means. Protect them. Let them know that their life is worth it. Protect them. Don't push them back. I mean, if Osinachi's if she hadn't gone back to that house, she would be alive today. She would be alive today. And there's a lady you also, gave an example, you told us about, who her husband pushed her off the balcony of the house. She would be alive today if she had just listened. It's life and death is just a split second. Don't play with your life, please. If there's anything, leave an abusive marriage as fast as you can. That would be my take home for you. Leave an abusive marriage. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much. Thank you so much to every single person who joined us this evening on the show Safe Space. Barisa, would you like to give your number to those who might like to call you later?
Okay. For those who might want to reach out to me, please do so on 0909 3214 942. 0909 for phone calls on WhatsApp. One more time, 0909 3214 942. Thank you very much, Fee.
Thank you so much,
And
Barista.
see you again next week.
Yes.
God's
You'll
grace.
hear from us next week, Thursday, by the grace of God, for 7 p.m., 6 p.m. to 7 on Women Radio Night 1.7. It's always a great time to be here to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Till next week, rather. My name is Finfolua Kirami, and I was here with Barrister Olumide Kayode Omoshebi. Good evening.